The stars looked different this far from home. Commander Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the Pathfinder, watching the view screen display a region of space no human had ever seen before. They had been traveling for 3 months, pushing their new faster-than-light engines to explore beyond known territories. The crew was tired but excited. Every day brought new discoveries. "Commander, we're picking up something strange," said Danny Price from the communication station. His young face showed confusion as he adjusted his instruments. "There's a massive object ahead. It's not on any star charts." Jake leaned forward in his chair. "How massive?" "About the size of Earth's moon, sir. But it's not giving off any heat signatures. It's just floating there in empty space between star systems." Dr. Lisa Crawford hurried onto the bridge, her brown hair pulled back in a messy ponytail. She was the ship's expert on alien artifacts and ancient civilizations. "Let me see those readings," she said, moving to Danny's station. Her eyes widened as she studied the data. "This is impossible. The structure is old. Really old. I'm talking millions of years." Jake made his decision quickly. "Change course. Take us closer but carefully. All sensors on maximum. I want to know what we're dealing with before we get too near." The Pathfinder approached the mysterious structure over the next 6 hours. As they got closer, the object became clearer on their screens. It was artificial, built with precision that made human engineering look primitive. The surface was covered in patterns and symbols that seemed to shift when viewed from different angles. "I'm not detecting any power sources," reported the science officer, "but the structure is definitely maintained. There's no debris, no damage from meteor impacts. Something is keeping it intact." Lisa couldn't take her eyes off the symbols. "Those markings are mathematical. They're using universal constants as a language. Any species that understands physics could read this." "What does it say?" Jake asked. "I need time to translate properly, but I'm seeing repeated patterns. Warning signs, I think. They're pointing to something." Lisa's hands moved quickly across her console, running translation algorithms. "Commander, I need to get closer. We need to send a team aboard." Jake considered the risks. They were far from any backup in unexplored space, approaching an alien structure of unknown purpose. But this was why they were out here. This was what exploration meant. "Prepare a shuttle. Lisa, you'll lead the team. Take 3 security officers in full environmental suits. If anything feels wrong, you get back to that shuttle immediately." 2 hours later, Lisa and her team stood inside the alien structure. Their suit lights cut through the darkness, revealing corridors that stretched in impossible directions. The walls were covered in text, billions of characters flowing across every surface. "It's a library," Lisa whispered into her radio. "A repository of information. I'm seeing multiple writing systems, all saying similar things." She moved deeper into the structure, recording everything. The security officers stayed close, their weapons ready even though they had detected no signs of life. The structure felt empty, abandoned long ago by whoever built it. Then Lisa found the central chamber. It was a massive sphere, with paths leading to a platform in the center. On that platform stood a pillar covered in glowing symbols. Unlike the rest of the structure, this pillar was active, pulsing with soft blue light. "Commander, you need to see this," Lisa said. "I'm sending you a live feed." Back on the Pathfinder, Jake watched as Lisa approached the pillar. The symbols were clearer here, and the ship's computer was already working on translation. "It's a message," Lisa reported. "A warning. And it's been repeated by dozens of different species." She touched her gloved hand to the pillar, and it responded. Images appeared in the air around her. Holographic displays showing star maps and alien civilizations. The translation came through on Jake's screen. He read it once, then read it again, his blood running cold. "To whoever finds this, turn back. The system you call home is cursed. We were the Viridian Empire, spanning 1,000 worlds. We found the 3rd planet in that yellow star system and believed it was empty, waiting to be colonized. We were wrong. Something sleeps there. Something that destroyed us when we tried to wake it. We are leaving this warning as our civilization falls. If you are from that planet, know this. You are not what you think you are. You are what remains when monsters try to become something else. We tried to help you. We tried to kill you. Both were mistakes. Pray you never remember what you truly are." Lisa's voice came through the radio, shaky and uncertain. "Commander, there are more messages. Hundreds of them. Different species, different time periods, all warning about the same thing. They're all warning about Earth." Jake felt the deck shift under his feet as the Pathfinder suddenly moved. "Danny, report. What's happening?" Sir, the structure just activated something. It sent out a pulse, a transmission on quantum channels. It went faster than light, and I think I know where it went. Where? Toward Earth, Commander. It sent a signal home. Lisa was already running back to the shuttle. We need to leave now. If this thing just announced that someone found it, we might have visitors. The team made it back to the Pathfinder within the hour. Jake ordered maximum speed back toward human territory. As they pulled away from the structure, their sensors picked up something else. Energy readings, faint but growing stronger. Something was responding to the signal. How long until we reach Earth? Jake asked. At maximum speed, 3 months, replied the pilot. Then we better hope whatever is responding to that signal takes longer than that. Lisa stood beside Jake, staring at the data they had collected. Do you believe it? The warnings, I mean. That Earth is some kind of prison for a dangerous species. Jake thought about humanity's history. The wars, the violence, the slow climb toward becoming something better. I don't know what I believe, but I know we need to get this information home. Let the experts figure it out. And if the experts decide the warnings are real? Lisa asked quietly. What then? Jake had no answer. They were 3 months from Earth, carrying information that could change everything humanity understood about itself. The warnings spoke of civilizations that tried to destroy Earth and failed. They spoke of a sleeping terror that wore human faces. The Pathfinder raced through the darkness, carrying its terrible knowledge home. Behind them, the ancient structure continued to pulse, its warning sent, its purpose fulfilled. And somewhere ahead, Earth continued its orbit around the sun, peaceful and blue, pretending to be just another planet. But pretending was what Earth did best. The Pathfinder arrived at Earth to find everything had changed. During their 3-month journey home, 6 other human exploration ships had discovered similar structures across the galaxy. Each one contained the same warnings, the same terrifying messages about humanity and Earth. The United Earth Council had declared a state of emergency and established a research base on the moon dedicated to understanding what they were calling the extinction. Archives Jake Morrison reported directly to the Council, presenting all the data his crew had collected. The chamber was packed with politicians, military officers, and scientists. Everyone wanted answers, but no one seemed to have any. After his presentation, Jake was dismissed while the Council debated what to do with the information. He felt useless sitting on Earth while the biggest mystery in human history unfolded. Dr. Lisa Crawford had no such problem. Within hours of landing, she was recruited to join the research team at Luna Base. The facility was buried deep under the moon's surface, protected by military-grade security. They weren't taking any chances with whatever they might discover. Lisa met her new colleagues in the main research laboratory. Martin Hayes was a linguist who specialized in dead languages. He had already spent weeks analyzing the warnings from all 7 structures. Dr. Nina Foster was a quantum physicist brought in to study the technology behind the structures. Together, they were trying to piece together humanity's hidden history. The warnings spanned 10 million years, Martin explained, projecting a timeline on the wall screen. The oldest one we've found comes from a species called the Architects. They visited Earth and left a message saying the planet was forbidden. The most recent is from the Viridians only 50,000 years ago. Lisa studied the timeline. 13 major civilizations discovered Earth. What happened to them? That's where it gets disturbing, Nina said, pulling up another set of data. We found remnants of 7 of these civilizations in our astronomical records. Or rather, we found where they used to be. Their home systems are dead. Stars still burning, but every planet is lifeless. No cities, no structures, nothing. Just barren rocks. They were wiped out, Lisa said softly. All of them, Martin confirmed. And according to the warnings they left behind, it happened after they visited Earth. Some tried to make contact with whatever was here. Others tried to destroy the planet from orbit. None of them survived. Lisa felt a chill despite the warm laboratory. What about the other 6 civilizations? The ones we can't find any trace of? Nina's expression was grim. We can't find them because they don't exist anymore. Not even their stars. There are voids in space where the warnings say their territories should be. Whatever removed them didn't just destroy their planets. It erased entire star systems. The 3 scientists worked around the clock, translating and analyzing every piece of information they could extract from the structures. The warnings painted a picture of something that evolved on Earth millions of years ago. The ancient texts called them the sleepers, and they were unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. The sleepers didn't conquer through superior weapons or larger fleets. They conquered through adaptation. They could survive in any environment, from the depths of space to the cores of stars. They could study any technology and improve it within hours. Most terrifying of all, they couldn't be killed. Weapons that destroyed them only taught them how to resist those weapons. Each attempt to stop them made them stronger. It's like they were the universe's ultimate predator, Martin said during one late-night session. Evolution taken to its logical extreme. Nothing could threaten them, so they became a threat to everything. But if they were so powerful, where are they now? Lisa asked. Why is Earth just a normal planet with normal humans? That question haunted her for weeks until Colonel Peter Grant arrived at Luna Base with classified information. Grant was the head of Earth's military intelligence, a stern man with gray hair and suspicious eyes. He brought with him data that had been kept secret from the public. We've been scanning Earth with every sensor we have, Grant said, displaying images on the main screen. Deep ocean trenches, underground caverns, the planet's core. We found something. The images showed structures buried beneath the Earth's surface. They were massive, larger than cities, built with technology that made the extinction archives look primitive. Some were in the ocean depths, others deep underground. All of them were still functioning. These things have been here for millions of years, Grant continued. They're drawing power from Earth's core, running some kind of program we can't begin to understand. And they're waking up. Waking up? Nina asked. What do you mean? Power consumption has increased by 30% in the last month. Whatever these machines do, they're preparing to do it again. Lisa studied the scans, her mind racing. Then she saw something in the data that made her blood run cold. The structures aren't random. They're positioned around the planet in a specific pattern. It's a containment field. Containment for what? Grant asked. Not containment to keep something out, Lisa said slowly, understanding dawning. Containment to keep something in. Earth isn't a planet where a dangerous species evolved. Earth is a prison. The implications hit everyone in the room at once. If Earth was a prison, then what was being imprisoned? The warnings spoke of the sleepers as conquerors, as monsters that consumed civilizations. But they also spoke of them being on Earth. Martin pulled up a new translation, one he had been working on from the Viridian archive. I found something else. A longer message hidden in the structure's core database. It talks about the sleepers' final days. He read the translation aloud. The sleepers achieved perfect evolution. They could not die, could not be defeated, could not be stopped. They spread across galaxies, consuming everything they encountered. But evolution requires conflict, and they had eliminated all conflict. So they turned inward. They began to evolve in ways that were not physical. They developed consciousness, self-awareness, philosophy, and with those things came something they had never experienced before. Regret. Regret for what? Grant asked. For what they had done, Martin continued. The sleepers realized they had become a plague. They had destroyed countless civilizations, erased entire species from existence, and they couldn't stop themselves. Their evolutionary drive was too strong. So they made a choice. Nina leaned forward. What choice? They decided to imprison themselves. They built the machines we've detected on Earth. Then they used those machines to transform themselves into something new, something weaker, more fragile, with limited lifespans and restricted abilities. They stripped away everything that made them unstoppable and created a new species. One that could die, could fail, could choose to be something other than perfect predators. Lisa felt the words sink in, understanding the terrible truth. They created humans. We're not the jailers. We're what happens when monsters try to become something better. The laboratory fell silent. Every person there was processing the same horrifying realization. Humanity wasn't some separate species that evolved naturally. Humanity was what remained when the galaxy's greatest threat decided to transform itself. But if that's true, Grant said quietly, then what happens when the machines finish waking up? What happens when humans remember what they used to be? No one had an answer. The machines beneath Earth continued to power up, preparing for something. And humanity, built from the remains of the sleepers, had no idea what was coming. 6 months had passed since the discovery of the extinction archives, and the world had changed in ways both visible and hidden. The United Earth Council created the Cerberus Protocol, a top-secret project designed to understand what humanity truly was. Dr. Lisa Crawford found herself leading an expedition to the deepest part of Earth's oceans, where the largest of the ancient machines had been detected. The submarine descended through dark water, its lights barely penetrating the blackness. Lisa sat with her team in the cramped vessel, reviewing their mission parameters. Dr. Sam Bennett was with them, a neurologist who had made disturbing discoveries about human DNA. He looked nervous, constantly checking his equipment. "Tell me again what you found in the lab samples," Lisa said to Sam. Sam pulled up genetic charts on his tablet. "Human DNA contains sequences that don't match any evolutionary path on Earth. They're dormant, locked away in parts of our genome that scientists previously thought were just junk. But they're not junk. They're instructions. Instructions for what? For transformation. When we activated these sequences in lab conditions using stem cells, the tissue changed. It became something that could survive in hard vacuum, process any form of matter as nutrition, regenerate from massive damage. The cells didn't die. They evolved on the spot, adapting to whatever we exposed them to." Lisa felt sick. So the warnings were right. We're not really human. We're sleepers wearing human shapes. Maybe, Sam said. Or maybe we're something in between. The transformation that created humanity was incomplete. Parts of what we used to be are still inside us, waiting. The submarine reached the ocean floor and positioned itself above a massive trench. Below them, sensors showed the ancient machine, larger than anything humans had built. It pulsed with energy that made their instruments malfunction. "Preparing the dive suits," announced the pilot. "Dr. Crawford, you're cleared for descent." Lisa and her team put on specialized suits designed to withstand the crushing pressure and unknown energies below. They exited the submarine through an airlock and activated their propulsion units. Slowly, they descended into the trench, following guide cables that previous drones had installed. The machine appeared gradually through the darkness. At first, Lisa thought she was seeing an optical illusion. The structure seemed to flicker, existing and not existing at the same time. As they got closer, she understood why. The machine existed partially in another dimension, phasing in and out of normal space. "This is impossible," Sam said over the radio. "The energy requirements to maintain dimensional displacement like this would be enormous." "It's drawing power from Earth's core," Lisa replied. "It's been doing it for millions of years." They found an entrance, a smooth opening in the machine's surface that seemed to invite them inside. Lisa led the way, fighting down her fear. Inside, the machine was even stranger. The walls weren't solid. They were composed of billions of tiny crystalline structures that shifted and moved like living things. "I'm getting readings," Sam said, scanning with his instruments. "These crystals are resonating with neural patterns. They're responding to our brainwaves." Lisa reached out carefully to touch one of the walls. The moment her gloved hand made contact, she felt something. A presence vast and ancient becoming aware of her. The crystals began to glow, and suddenly she could see images flooded her mind. Memories that weren't hers, belonging to the sleepers. She saw galaxies consumed, civilizations erased, an endless hunger that could never be satisfied. She felt what they felt, the terrible realization that they had become monsters, the desperate desire to be something else, anything else. "Lisa, your vitals are spiking," Sam said urgently. "We need to pull you back," but Lisa couldn't move. The machine was showing her everything. She saw how the sleepers built these structures, how they used them to rewrite their own existence. They didn't just change their bodies. They changed their minds, their instincts, their very souls. They created humanity as an act of penance, hoping that by becoming mortal they could learn restraint. Commander Jake Morrison was in orbit when everything went wrong. He had been assigned to command the defense fleet after his discovery of the first archive. Now he stood on the bridge of the battleship Defiant, watching Earth with growing concern. "Sir, we're detecting unusual activity planet-wide," reported the sensor officer. "The underwater machines are all active. Power levels are increasing exponentially." Jake felt his stomach drop. "What about Dr. Crawford's team?" "Still in the Mariana Trench, sir. They're not responding to hails." Before Jake could issue orders, new alarms blared across the bridge. "Contact. Multiple ships dropping out of faster-than-light travel. Distance 10 million kilometers and closing. Identify them," Jake ordered. The tactical display updated, showing massive vessels appearing around Earth's orbital space. They were alien ships, larger and more advanced than anything humanity had built. The designs matched records from the extinction archives. "They're Krell, sir." "The Krell Dominion. We're being hailed. Put them through." The view screen changed, showing an alien face. The Krell were reptilian, with scaled skin and cold eyes that had seen millennia of history. The one addressing them wore symbols of high rank. Human vessels, this is Commander Vex of the Krell Dominion. We have come in response to the activation of the sleeper warning systems. Your planet poses a threat to all life in the galaxy. By the authority of the Galactic Council, Earth will be destroyed. You have 1 hour to evacuate any personnel you wish to save. Jake felt anger surge through him. You can't just destroy our homeworld. We haven't threatened anyone. You exist, Vex said coldly. That is threat enough. The Sleepers destroyed 13 civilizations, including our sister species. We will not allow them to return. Comply, or you will be destroyed along with your planet. The channel closed. Jake looked at his bridge crew and saw fear in their eyes. The Krell fleet numbered 2,000 warships, enough firepower to crack a planet's crust. Earth's defense fleet had 50 ships built for exploration and light combat, not planetary defense. Contact all Earth vessels, Jake ordered. Battle stations. And someone get me Dr. Crawford. If there's any way to stop this, she needs to find it now. In the depths of the Mariana Trench, Lisa finally pulled her hand away from the crystalline wall. She was shaking, tears streaming down her face inside her helmet. She had seen the truth, all of it, and it was more terrible and beautiful than she could have imagined. Sam, she said weakly, we need to get to the surface. Right now. What did you see? Everything. I saw everything the Sleepers were, everything they did, and why they became us. But that's not the important part. Then what is? Lisa looked at the glowing walls around them, the machine that had waited millions of years to fulfill its purpose. The machine isn't waking up to turn us back into Sleepers. It's waking up because the Sleepers programmed it to respond to a specific threat. It's a defense system. Defense against what? Against anyone who tries to destroy Earth. The Sleepers knew that other species would eventually discover what this planet was. They knew those species would try to eliminate the threat, so they built a defense grid that would protect humanity, protect their second chance at being something better. Sam's face went pale. Lisa, there's a Krell fleet in orbit. They're going to destroy Earth. I know, Lisa said quietly. The machine knows too. It's been preparing since the moment they arrived. And when it activates fully, when the defense grid comes online, she didn't finish the sentence. She didn't need to. They both understood what was about to happen. The machine wasn't just going to defend Earth. It was going to show the galaxy why the Sleepers had been feared. And humanity was about to discover what they truly were, beneath the fragile disguise of mortality. The Krell fleet opened fire exactly 1 hour after their ultimatum expired. 2,000 warships unleashed their weapons simultaneously, beams of pure energy that could vaporize mountains streaking toward Earth. On the surface, billions of humans looked up at the sky, seeing death approaching in brilliant streaks of light. The beams never reached the planet. The defense grid activated in microseconds. Ancient machines beneath the oceans and deep underground coming fully online for the first time in millions of years. Invisible fields of energy intercepted every weapon, analyzing the attacks, understanding them, and then neutralizing them. The deadly beams simply vanished, their energy absorbed and redirected into the grid's power systems. Commander Jake Morrison watched from the Defiance bridge in stunned silence. What just happened? The planetary defense system, sir, reported the tactical officer, her voice shaking. It blocked everything, every single shot. Commander Vex of the Krell fleet was equally stunned. He had expected Earth's defenses to be ancient and weak, perhaps buying the humans a few extra minutes. Instead, his entire fleet's opening salvo had been rendered useless. He ordered a second attack, this time focusing all firepower on a single point. Surely concentrated force would overwhelm any defense. It didn't. The grid adapted instantly, creating stronger fields exactly where needed, but it didn't stop at defense. The machines did something that terrified Vex more than any weapon. They learned. Within seconds of analyzing the Krell weapons, the grid began producing its own versions, improved and more efficient. All ships fall back, Vex ordered, but he was too late. Lieutenant Amy Rogers was flying patrol near the moon when she felt something change. She was a fighter pilot, one of the youngest in the defense fleet, known for her quick reflexes and calm under pressure. But nothing in her training prepared her for what happened next. Her body began to change. It started as a tingling sensation, then became a rush of information flooding into her brain. Memories that weren't hers, knowledge of technology that humanity hadn't invented, understanding of the universe at a level that shouldn't be possible. She could feel every human on Earth connecting to the same network, accessing the ancient machines, remembering what they used to be. "Control, this is Rogers," she said into her radio. "Something's happening to me. I can see everything. The machines, the grid, the Krell ships. I understand how they work." Admiral Helen Crane was in the Fleet Command Center when reports started flooding in. Pilots were changing, their bodies adapting, their consciousness expanding. Ground stations reported similar phenomena across Earth. People were transforming, becoming something more than human. "Get me Dr. Crawford," Helen ordered. "I need to know what's happening." Lisa was still in the submarine, racing toward the surface. She had felt the change too. The ancient network activating, connecting to every human mind. The sleepers weren't taking over. They were sharing, offering humanity access to millions of years of accumulated knowledge and capability. "It's the defense protocol," Lisa explained over the radio. The machines were programmed to protect humanity, but the sleepers understood that humans might need to defend themselves. So the grid doesn't just create weapons, it gives humans the ability to use sleeper technology to become what they need to be to survive. "So we're turning into sleepers?" Helen asked. "Some of us are transforming more than others. It depends on individual biology and willingness to accept the change. But yes, humanity is remembering what it used to be." In orbit, Lieutenant Amy Rogers had completed her transformation. Her fighter's cockpit felt different now. She could interface with the ship directly, understanding its systems at a fundamental level. She could also sense the Krell vessels, reading their formations, predicting their movements. "Admiral, permission to engage the enemy," Amy said calmly. Helen looked at the tactical display. The Krell fleet was regrouping, preparing for another attack. Earth's defense fleet was outnumbered 40-1. But Amy's fighter was now broadcasting readings that made no sense. It was moving at speeds that should tear it apart, pulling maneuvers that violated basic physics. "Permission granted," Helen said. "All ships support Rogers." Amy accelerated toward the Krell fleet alone. Her fighter wove through space, avoiding incoming fire with impossible precision. She reached the first Krell battleship and fired a single shot. The weapon wasn't human technology anymore. It was something the ancient machines had designed, reverse-engineered from the Krell's own weapons and improved in seconds. The battleship's shields failed instantly. The shot punched through armor that should have been impenetrable, striking the ship's reactor core. The massive vessel went dark, disabled but not destroyed. "This is Lieutenant Rogers to Krell forces," Amy broadcast. "We don't want to kill you. Stand down." Commander Vex watched in horror as one small human fighter disabled his flagship. The creature piloting that vessel was using technology that matched the descriptions in the ancient warnings. The sleepers were awakening just as his ancestors had feared. But something was different. The sleepers of old would have destroyed his entire fleet without warning, consumed his civilization, erased his species from existence. This human was giving him a choice. Jake Morrison saw the same thing. He had been prepared to die defending Earth, expecting the Krell to overwhelm them through sheer numbers. Instead, he was watching a single pilot, transformed by ancient machines, demonstrating that humanity could destroy the Krell fleet whenever they chose. But they weren't attacking. They were waiting. "Admiral Crane, what are your orders?" Jake asked. Helen was watching reports flood in from across the fleet and from Earth's surface. Thousands of humans were transforming, becoming something more than they had been. But they weren't becoming monsters. They were becoming guardians, using their new abilities to protect rather than conquer. "Open a channel to Commander Vex," Helen ordered. "It's time we had a real conversation." The Krell commander appeared on screen, his scaled face showing fear and confusion. "You should have destroyed us," he said. "Why didn't you?" "Because we're not what you think we are," Helen replied. The sleepers tried to destroy themselves because they hated what they'd become. They created humanity as a second chance, a way to be something better. "We're not here to consume galaxies. We're here to protect life. The warnings say otherwise." The warnings were left by the sleepers themselves. Lisa's voice joined the conversation. She had reached the surface and patched into the communication network. They were terrified of what they'd been, but they succeeded in changing. We're the proof of that success. Dr. Sam Bennett was monitoring the transformations happening across Earth. What he saw gave him hope and terror in equal measure. "The changes aren't permanent," he reported. "The transformed individuals can choose to return to normal human biology. The network is offering power, not forcing it. People are choosing whether to change or stay as they are." On Earth's surface, millions of humans were making that choice. Some embraced the transformation, feeling the rush of ancient knowledge and capability. Others resisted, preferring to remain as they had always been. Both choices were respected by the network. Commander Vex made a decision. I will contact the Galactic Council. I will tell them what I have witnessed here, but I make no promises about what they will decide. That's all we ask, Helen said. A chance to prove we're not the monsters you feared. The Krell fleet withdrew, leaving Earth's space. Jake felt the tension drain from the bridge as the immediate threat passed. But he knew this was just the beginning. The galaxy had seen humanity use sleeper technology. Word would spread. Other civilizations would come, some as friends, others as enemies. Lieutenant Amy Rogers returned to the fleet, her fighter docking with the Defiant. When she emerged from the cockpit, she looked human again. The transformation reversed. But her eyes held knowledge that hadn't been there before. How do you feel? Jake asked her. Different, Amy said. I can still access the network if I want to. The knowledge is there, waiting. But I'm choosing to be human, at least for now. That was the key, Jake realized. Choice. The sleepers had taken that away from themselves, consumed by instinct and evolutionary drive. Humanity had been given something the sleepers never had, the ability to choose what they wanted to be. Earth continued its orbit, no longer pretending to sleep, but not fully awake either. Something in between. Something new, something that remembered what it had been while choosing to be something better. 3 weeks after the Krell fleet withdrew from Earth, the Galactic Council made contact. They were the oldest alliance of species in the known universe, representing 200 civilizations that had survived and prospered by working together. They sent a single ship, unarmed and broadcasting peace signals. Humanity held its breath, wondering if this was salvation or judgment. Admiral Helen Crane met the Council representatives on Luna Base in a chamber hastily converted for diplomatic purposes. The delegation included species humanity had never seen before. Beings of crystalline thought, creatures that existed partially in energy form, and traditional biological species that reminded humans of Earth animals. The Council's speaker was an ancient being called Elder Morse, a creature that looked like living stone with glowing veins of light running through its body. It spoke through translation technology that converted its thoughts into human language. We have reviewed Commander Vex's report, Morse said, its voice like grinding rocks. We have also studied the extinction archives and the history of the sleepers. Humanity faces a choice, and that choice will determine your place in the galaxy or your isolation from it. Dr. Lisa Crawford sat beside Helen, serving as humanity's expert on sleeper technology. She had spent the past week studying the ancient machines, learning their purpose and capabilities. What she discovered had given her hope, but also profound worry. What choice are you offering us? Helen asked carefully. The machines beneath your planet contain more than defense systems, Morse explained. We have analyzed the energy signatures. The primary purpose of those machines was never to protect Earth. They were built to preserve. Lisa felt her heart skip. She had suspected this but needed confirmation. Preserve what? Morse gestured, and a holographic display appeared in the air between them. It showed genetic databases, cultural records, and consciousness backups of thousands of species. The sleepers consumed 13 major civilizations, but they did not simply destroy them. In their final days before transforming into humanity, they saved everything they had taken. Every species they encountered, every culture they erased, every mind they absorbed, was stored in vast databases hidden across Earth. They were trying to atone, Lisa whispered. They couldn't undo what they'd done, but they preserved what they'd destroyed, hoping someday it could be restored. Exactly, Morse confirmed. The machines are prepared to begin reconstruction. They can recreate extinct species, seed them on suitable worlds, and restore what was lost. But this requires enormous energy, drawn from Earth's core. The process will destabilize your planet. Earth has perhaps 10 years before the energy requirements tear it apart. The room fell silent. Helen felt the weight of the decision crushing down on her. So we can save these extinct species, but we lose our homeworld in the process? That is one option, Morse said. The other is to shut down the machines, remain human as you are now, and let the preserved species stay dead. The sleepers gave you the choice they never had for themselves. What will humanity choose? Over the next days, the United Earth Council debated endlessly. Some argued that humanity couldn't sacrifice Earth for species that were already dead. Others insisted that if humanity had the power to restore what the sleepers had destroyed, they had a moral obligation to do so. The world watched and waited, divided on what path to take. Dr. Sam Bennett was studying the transformation data when he made a crucial discovery. "There's a third option," he announced during an emergency meeting. "The transformation isn't all or nothing. When people access the sleeper network, they exist on a spectrum. Some barely change, others transform completely. What if we could create a middle ground?" "Explain," Helen said. "The machines need operators, people who can manage the restoration process and maintain it long-term. These operators would need to transform more completely, taking on sleeper abilities permanently. But not everyone needs to change. Most of humanity could remain human, living on Earth. The transformed individuals could take the ancient ships we've discovered buried underground and begin the restoration project across the galaxy." Lisa saw where he was going. A division of purpose. Some of us embrace the transformation and take responsibility for fixing what the sleepers broke. Others remain human, anchoring us to what we chose to become. Neither option is better or worse, just different paths serving different needs. The proposal was presented to the Council and the Galactic representatives. Commander Vex, who had remained near Earth as an observer, spoke in support of the plan. "The Krell lost our sister species to the sleepers 5 million years ago. If humanity can restore them, we will support this endeavor. We will help protect Earth during the process." Elder Morse consulted with the other council members. After hours of deliberation, they reached a decision. The Galactic Council will accept this solution. In exchange for humanity's efforts to restore extinct civilizations, we will provide resources and protection. Earth will be designated a restoration world, sacred and guarded by all council species. 50,000 volunteers stepped forward to undergo permanent transformation. Commander Jake Morrison was among them. He stood with Lisa in the deep ocean facility, preparing to fully interface with the ancient machines. "Are you sure about this?" Lisa asked him. "Once you change, you won't really be human anymore." Jake smiled. "I'll still be me, just a me that can help fix what our ancestors broke." "That seems worth it." Lieutenant Amy Rogers volunteered as well, along with thousands of pilots, scientists, engineers, and explorers. They underwent the transformation together, their bodies adapting, their minds expanding to interface with technology that had waited millions of years for operators. The ancient ships rose from beneath Earth's surface, vessels that had been hidden since the sleepers' time. They were massive, built with technology that made current human engineering look primitive. The transformed humans crewed these ships, learning to operate them through the knowledge network the machines provided. Dr. Lisa Crawford chose to remain human. She would lead the research efforts from Earth, coordinating between the transformed explorers and the unchanged humans who would maintain society. Sam Bennett joined her, as did most of humanity. They would be the anchor, the reminder of why the sleepers had chosen to become something different. The first restoration mission launched 6 months later. Jake Morrison commanded a ship carrying genetic samples and cultural databases to a dead world in Krell space. The planet had once been home to the Krell's sister species, destroyed by the sleepers 3 million years ago. Now, with Krell support and human effort, life would return to that world. Helen Crane watched the ships depart from Earth, carrying humanity's transformed volunteers to distant stars. She felt pride and sadness mixed together. Humanity had been given a terrible legacy, but they were choosing to use it for redemption rather than conquest. On Earth's surface, life continued. The planet had changed. Everyone knew about the sleeper heritage now, but humans were still human. They still loved, fought, created, and dreamed. The only difference was a faint connection to an ancient network, accessible to those who wanted it, ignorable by those who didn't. Lisa made the final entry in humanity's archive, a message for future generations and for other species who might one day discover Earth. "We learned where we came from," she wrote. "We learned that our ancestors were monsters who consumed galaxies. But we also learned that those monsters chose to become something better, something capable of compassion and restraint. We are their children and their redemption. Earth no longer pretends to sleep. We are awake, aware, and choosing every day to be worthy of the second chance we were given. We will restore what was taken. We will guard against threats, We will remember what we were while striving to be something better. This is humanity's choice, made freely, made consciously. We are the sleeper's legacy, and we will not waste it. 10 years later, the first restored species reached population stability on their new homeworld. The Krell held a ceremony, welcoming back their sister civilization from extinction. Humans attended, both transformed and unchanged, celebrating the success. Jake Morrison had aged differently than his unchanged friends. The transformation had extended his lifespan considerably. He could now exist in hard vacuum, survive extreme conditions, and interface with technology in ways that seemed like magic. But he was still Jake, still remembering what it meant to be human. "Do you ever regret it?" Lisa asked him during the ceremony. She had remained on Earth, studying the ancient machines, learning their secrets. "Giving up your humanity?" Jake looked at the restored species celebrating their rebirth, at the Krell who had gone from enemies to allies, at the transformed and unchanged humans working together. "I didn't give up my humanity," he said. "I expanded it. We all did, in different ways. Some of us changed our bodies. Others changed the world. All of us chose to be more than we were born to be." That was humanity's true strength, Lisa realized. Not the sleeper technology or the ancient knowledge or the ability to transform. It was the ability to choose, to grow, to become something better than their programming dictated. Earth continued its orbit, no longer sleeping, no longer pretending. The planet that once imprisoned monsters had become a beacon of hope.